Today's webinar is all about looking at the patron account functionality available within Aspen. So I'll be just doing a hands-on demonstration for this, just going through each of the components in turn. And then there should be time for some questions at the end. So before I start, I'm just going to say I'm going to be using our demo system for the duration of this webinar. But ultimately, the My Account functionality is the same. So just looking at all of the different options, some of which will be relevant to your libraries, others not. But before I start, I just want to highlight the browse category blocks in the middle of the screen here. Primarily because when I log in, these are going to change. So I'm just going to let you glance through music, audiobooks, musical theatre, fiction and non-fiction are the first 5 that you can see there. I'm going to log in to my patron account. So this is me logging in as a library user to be able to look at my account details in Aspen and see what items I've got on loan and what I can do when I'm in my account and so on and so forth. Just before I log in, you can see that you've also got some options that you can enable or disable. So you can have a reset password option, and you can also allow your libraries to have self-registration. They can do register for a new library card, but if you don't want to implement them, they just get switched off in Aspen. So I'm just going to log in as a personal user. And now I'm just going to return back to the home because I want you to see here, we've now got recommended for you browse category appearing. And if I scroll further along as well, you can see that I have your list. So these are lists that I have created in my account. When I click on there, I've got some sub lists as well. So you'll see those just shortly, but I've also got the recommendations that come through too, and I'll talk about them. So that's why I started with the browse categories, just to show you that that does change. Now I've also logged in and I can see a feedback form where I didn't see that before. So again, you can create some web pages that are available on Aspen that you'll only see as a logged in library user. So again, just to confirm that, if I log out, the feedback is gone. So that's quite a nice feature as well. You can have certain things only available for logged in library users. From the account information here, I can click on there and I get the menu of everything that's available within the account. And if I click on the little hamburger option here, I've also got a link into my account from here too. But once I'm logged in, I get any messages that the library has sent to me. And I also get a summary to tell me that they've got a reservation available for pickup. And from the summary here, you can see that I've got 14 checked out titles, 11 of which are currently overdue. I've got 22 titles on hold, of which 4 are ready for pickup. And as you can see, these are links, so I can go straight in to have a look at these from this section on that homepage, or I'll come back and look at those from the menu options in just a moment as well. And then I've got my recommended for you carousel at the summary screen as well. Just can toggle through them and I can click on any one of these books covers to be taken into that. So the options that are available from the My Account. So if I click on my list here, these menu options here match what you're seeing on the left-hand side. Okay, so let's have a look first of all, checked out titles. It knows which library I'm registered at. So it actually gives me a banner to tell me that my library is open between the times it's published there. So that's quite a nice little feature. And then you can see that I've got my 14 items. It can also subdivide into what I've got out that's printed material and what I've got checked out that's from an ebook provider, for example. So it can separate those out into different tabs. And I can choose my different sort order here as well. It basically just gives me a list of everything that's checked out. And at this point, I've got the links into the titles and the authors and so on, and I can do the star rating if that's been switched on Aspen. Then as a logged in user, I can rate this title. And you can see who it's checked out to as well, which obviously is myself. But if I scroll down, we can see this dinosaur Bob. Now this one is checked out to a different user, and I'll come back to that in a moment, but that's because with Aspen, you can link user accounts together, and you'll see where that is in just a second. Now, on the dinosaur Bob, you can see it cannot be renewed, and the reason for that is it's already been renewed its maximum number of times. So you get notices here of how many times things have been renewed. If I have a look at a different one, the one underneath, for example, it's been renewed 9 out of 10 times, so I have got the facility to renew that from here too. You've got, you might also like, so again, Aspen is continually signposting the user to alternative materials. So because this is checked out, might also be interested in like-minded titles by clicking on that button. And if I scroll to the bottom, you can see you've got the option to renew selected items, or you can renew everything, and you can also export your checked out items. So you've got your little check boxes to the left-hand side there. So you could check them and then say renew selected items. You get your confirmation, and then it'll tell you that it has been renewed. Okay, so all items were renewed successfully in this case. And it would reload and update your accounts accordingly. If we have a look back to our titles, our menu on the left-hand side, we've got titles on hold. And again, it's subdivided into different areas. So if we come into titles on hold, the first half of the screen is holds that are ready for pickup. And scrolling down a little bit further, you've got your pending holds. So these top list here are things that are waiting on the hold shelf for me to go and collect. And again, you can see that this one is not on hold for me. It's actually on hold for somebody else that's linked to me, but this one's on hold for me. So again, these linked accounts work across the board. Once again, you do have the while you wait option. So it's saying, well, whilst you're waiting on these titles, perhaps you're interested in others. And that's especially important for the pending holds. So you can also cancel holds from anything that you're waiting on, so perhaps it's no longer of interest to you, or that essay that you had to write that you needed that book for, the submission date's passed, so you can cancel from here. And you can freeze your hold, which essentially means suspend it until a particular date, and that doesn't lose your place in the holds queue. You can retain that, but you're just actually saying they're not interested in it between a certain period of time. You can change pickup locations as well. So anything that's not yet arrived, you can specify that you want to collect it elsewhere. And again, scrolling down, you've just got your full list at the bottom. And if you wanted to, you could use your check boxes on the left, and you can cancel selected, freeze selected, full selected, or the same applies for them all. So you've got the options on the right-hand side next to each to be able to deal with one item at a time, or the check boxes allowing you at the bottom to do a batch operation. Okay, again, moving on then. At the left-hand side, we've got our fines, and we can see here that it's showing me that I've got £2 outstanding from the summary. But when I come in to have a look at the details, you can see a breakdown of these. So we've got, it starts with my fines, and you can see the reasons for these. These are overdue material. And I've also got my linked accounts, but they're good patrons of the library. They don't have any fines that are owing. So from here you can see, excuse me, that we do support online payments. So you can make your payment using PayPal, or integration with a third-party payment gateway provider, and that could all be set up and integrated for you. And then you can say what you're paying and so on from here. Materials requests. This is the equivalent of purchase suggestions. So perhaps a user has searched the catalogue and they haven't found what they're looking for. So they'll get the option then to submit a materials request form, and that's suggesting that the library purchases a particular item. So from your Aspen account, you can then see everything that you've submitted a materials request for previously, along with the status of it. So this one we've asked for it. This one's been rejected by the library. just make this a little bit bigger. This one's been accepted and the library's going to purchase it, and so on. And from here, I can obviously go into any of these. If I thought, oh, this one's just not interested in there, I can delete it from here as well, and it updates my list. If I wanted to submit a new materials request from here rather than from a search results page, I've got exactly the same form, and I can just fill out that suggestion form from here. Okay, next setting we have is the patron's library card. So as you can see on the screen here, this is essentially a digital barcode that stores your account's information. So this can be really useful because Aspen obviously can be used on your mobile phone. It is responsive, so you could have your library card displaying on your mobile phone, go into the library, and the member library staff can scan the digital barcode from here. And then, because again, I've got linked accounts, I've got the corresponding barcodes for those linked accounts as well. It's a really nice feature. Okay, moving on now, we've got the recommendations. So what Aspen does is it has some internal logic, some algorithm that it works out, and it says, right, you've borrowed this, you've placed reservations on this, you've maybe star rated this material, you've maybe left a review, whatever you've happened to do, it's captured that information and it offers you recommendations based on your sort of circulation borrowing activity. So this is my full set of recommendations from here. You can see that titles I've rated, I've got 3 against them. I'm not interested in titles. Again, I can flag that, but they would be kept on my list if I wanted to refer back to them. So imagine I'm looking down here and I think, what the devil is this all about? Why has the system recommended this to me? It doesn't look like anything I would read. I can say, actually, don't recommend it to me, and it takes it off my list. So the user's in control of that, and what now would happen is Aspen would sort of recalculate that algorithm and sort of make sure that it doesn't recommend me anything that's like that going forward. And obviously, because it's recommended these to me, it's immediately said to me, okay, you can place a hold on this if you want, or I can obviously go in and have a look at the full record. So this is sort of now giving me a results screen, a catalogue results screen, so I can go and have a look at more information on this particular item or add it to my list and so on, that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just back into the records now because I click the more info and I get all the details I would expect there. And just as a recap as well, remember I could get my recommendations from that browse category that we saw at the start as well on the home screen. I can come down and have a look at the titles that I rated, and you can see what star ratings I've previously given some material here. And that list will just continue to grow, but I can clear it down if I wanted to as well. And then not interested in titles has been updated with the count of 1 now, and there's the one that I said don't recommend anymore. So as I said, it does keep a track of it, you can go back to it, but obviously I can clear it down should I wish as well. Your lists, this is lists that I've put together, so I can see that I've got the ability to create a new list, so I can give a title, and then I can add items to that particular list. So if I have a look at the management list that I've created, these are the items that I've put in the list. From a catalogue search, you've got the option to add to your list here, and it asks you what list that you want to add it to. And this will give you a list of all your lists, and from here you can also create a new list. Okay, I can choose to delete items from the list on a 1-by-1 basis, or again, using the batch operations at the bottom of the screen. Aspen also will retain your search history. I haven't actually saved any searches, but you can save searches when you execute them, and you can go back and sort of click the link and it'll do that search for you again. So if you did want to save the search, you can. So if I just do search management, okay, and then if I scroll to the bottom, for example, I've got the ability to save my search, and then I can go back and execute that again going forward. But I won't do that. I don't have time to do that just now. Let's go back into my account. And then the reading history. So again, what I've borrowed from my previous checkouts, my checkout history will all be retained within here. But the user has the option to say, actually delete my reading history or stop recording it. So they're in control of that. And there's a wee explanation as to what that reading history is as well. So again, we can delete everything from my reading history, or I can take off each individual one using the delete option beside it. And once again, you've got that signpost. You might also like offering me alternatives to what I might be interested in reading based on my previous borrowing history. You can change your sort. And because I've got quite a long list here, I might be interested in something in particular, so I can do a little search to refine that. So I can search within this list, for example. So I thought, oh, I've got 92, that's far too many. I just want to find what I've read before. Then you can easily do that by using your little, either your search bar or your filter options here. And finally, moving into the account settings area, you've got your preferences. So this is where for the individual user can specify what they want to use for their default language and what display mode they want to use. And that can also be changed ad hoc, but users can set that up themselves in the preferences. And they can also set where they want things like their pickup location, where it should default to if they're placing a reservation. And they can set up their what cookies to allow and so on too. Okay, so you've got these options that can be toggled on and off. The personal details. This is if the library allows the user to make some changes to their account through this interface. And then that could be approved, obviously, before it's updated in the library management system. But the user can come in, change any of the details that they wish up here, and then update their contact information. Messaging settings, again, if the library allows the user to manipulate what notices they receive, they can do so from here. We've linked our demo Aspen to the Koha library management system, so these messaging settings reflect what's available within Koha, and some of the libraries don't expose this to users in Aspen because they have their set criteria for sending out the notices, but you can sort of have that available there if you want. Now, linked accounts is when you can have additional accounts to manage. So that's where you could sort of, in my case, have my children linked to me so that I can see their activity, I can renew their material, I can pay their fines, I can do all of that from within my account. And the flip side of that as well is you can see which other accounts can view your own account. So nobody else can view mine, but I can view these two. And I can add additional accounts in there if I want to do so. And security settings, finally, this is where you can set up your two-factor authentication. So when I logged in, it just allowed me to log in. But if two-factor authentication had been enabled, then I would have been sent an email with a code, and I would have been prompted to enter that code before it would allow me into my account. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. So I'm going to set that up. You see it will say it'll email to me, and I'll receive a 6-digit verification code by email. So I'll click next. Then I'm just going to check my email to get that code that I need to put in here. So it is 423540. Okay. Next, and it's verified me. So now I've just proved that that's worked. If I log out and sign back in as the same user, it's now going to prompt me for that authentication code again. So I'll just enter in a new one, 393-230. And now, because two-factor authentication was enabled, I had that extra security step before it would allow me to log into my account. So that is a run through of the patron account functionality within the Aspen Discovery. And any questions, do get in touch with us.